promoting dialogue.
It's 6 p.m. in Dakar and Bamako. Good evening and thank you for staying tuned to West Africa Democracy Radio broadcasting on 94.9 FM and worldwide at wadr.org. Welcome to Newslink. Here are the top stories. President Tinubu of Nigeria orders deployment of all service chiefs to Borno State after Monday's suicide bombings.
So many victims were evacuated to the various health facilities within the city, and I have received a report that there were so many dead bodies.
Guinea to begin gradual drawdown of troops on border areas following the Mano River Union Tripartite Summit in Conakry.
Les partis se sont engagés en faveur de la paix.
The parties committed themselves to peace, security, stability and development within the Mano River Union.
Opposition parliamentary groups in Ghana challenges government's plan to recruit 40,000 security personnel over 4 years, and Burkina Faso receives 200 million in funding support to transform the agricultural sector. Please stay tuned for details of these stories and more.
On the news, this is Abdullahi Hassan.
Many thanks for joining our broadcast. We begin in Nigeria with updates on the suicide bombings that rocked Borno State on Monday evening. Police confirmed on Tuesday that at least 23 people were killed and about 100 others injured in the attacks. Many of the wounded are currently receiving treatment in health facilities across Maiduguri, the state capital. In a major development, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has directed all service chiefs and heads of security agencies to relocate temporarily to Borno State as efforts intensify to address the security situation. Usman Umar reports.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu directed security chiefs to move to Maiduguri and take charge of operations following multiple explosions in Maiduguri. The president condemned the attacks as acts of terror aimed at spreading fear among residents, warning that those responsible will be tracked down and brought to justice. He also instructed emergency agencies to ensure proper medical care for the injured and expressed condolences to the families of the victims. The blasts, which occurred on Monday evening in Borno State, reportedly killed at least 23 people and injured more than 100 others after targeting crowded locations, including markets and a hospital. Public Relations Officer of Borno State Police Command, Nahum Daso, addressed the media.
This unfortunate incident is a condemnable one and is what we have not recorded in a period of time. It was a heartstone to the state entirely, and we commiserate with those that have lost their life and the families of those that are injured. From the details we have on ground is that yesterday at about 7:20 p.m., where 3 explosives went off at Monday Market area, post office area, and in front of UMTH.
No group has yet claimed responsibility for the attacks in Borno State, where Boko Haram and its offshoot, Islamic West Africa Province, both operate. The Nigerian army has assured populations there of maximum security despite suffering significant losses. In recent weeks, military bases have come under heavy attacks by armed groups, with several soldiers, including senior commanders, reportedly killed.
Usman Umar in Abuja with that report. Meanwhile, the Guinean armed forces is expected to begin the gradual drawdown of troops deployed along the country's border with Liberia and Sierra Leone. The reduction, which takes effect from today, March 17, followed a commitment made by the Guinean government in the aftermath of the Tripartite Summit held in Conakry yesterday. Christopher Ticho has the following report.
The army's decision follows a meeting between the President of Guinea, Liberia and Sierra Leone, who agreed to prioritize diplomacy to resolve border tensions and strengthen regional cooperation. According to Guinea's armed forces, the phased reduction of troops will begin on March 17, 2026, following commitments made during the talks. Conakry did not mention the number of troops deployed at the crossing point, but sources in Liberia described the contingent as heavy. Their presence in the border communities was seen as aggressive and intimidating. But beyond border disputes, President Mamadou Doumbouya, Joseph Boakai and Julius Maada Bio also pledged to strengthen security cooperation against regional threats such as terrorism, organized crime and human trafficking. Guinea's Foreign Minister, Maurice Sanda Kouyaté, read the communiqué at the end of the meeting.
Les partis se sont engagés en faveur de la paix.
The parties committed themselves to peace, security, stability and development within the Mano River Union. They reiterated their commitment to resolving border disputes through diplomatic means in accordance with Article 33 of the Charter of the United Nations, and to strengthening cooperation between their defense and security services through increased joint border patrols and operations, the regular exchange of intelligence and security information, and the establishment of rapid communication mechanisms between local authorities and security forces.
Another MRU summit is expected within a month to revitalize the organization and deepen dialogue on peace, security and development in the sub-region. According to authorities in Freetown and Monrovia, the outcome of the talks should help ease tensions, rebuild trust among border communities and revive cross-border trade.
A report by Christopher Aticho. Elsewhere, Mali and Mauritania are attempting to diffuse a new diplomatic tension. In Nouakchott, Foreign Minister Mohamed Salem Oud Mazog received Mali Ambassador Bakary Doumbouya amid recent disagreements. This comes after the escape of 2 Malian soldiers from the Imbera refugee camp, which Bamako describes as a rare base for armed groups. Let's join Imoradet for more.
Officials from Mauritania and Mali have held talks aimed at reviewing their bilateral cooperation and exploring ways to strengthen ties. The meeting comes a day after the Malian military command reported the escape of 2 of its soldiers onto Mauritanian territory before they were later recaptured in Gundam in Mali's Timbuktu region. In a statement, the Malian Armed Forces General Staff claimed the soldiers had fled from the Mbera refugee camp, which it described as a rare base for armed groups. Mauritanian authorities quickly rejected the allegation, calling their remarks unfounded and offensive. Nouakchott also expressed regret that the issue was not first addressed through diplomatic channels. According to Mauritania, the Mbera camp has hosted refugees, mostly from Mali for near 3 decades, under the supervision of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees and humanitarian partners. The camp, it says, remains under close monitoring and accessible to Malian authorities. Mauritania further warned that claims of terrorist groups operating in the camp risk undermining the long-standing fraternal relations between the 2 neighbors. In this tense context, the meeting between the 2 diplomats appear to be an effort to prioritize dialogue and prevent further escalation at a time when relations between Bamako and Nouakchott have already been strained by recent disputes over the expulsion of Malian migrants from Mauritanian territory.
A report by WADR's Aliyu Chami in Bamako and voiced by Imoradet.
More stories coming up on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues. As a reminder, we stream live at wadr.org. In Ghana, President John Mahama has ordered a major expansion of recruitment into the security services. The directive requested that the enlistment across the various agencies be doubled from 20,000 to 40,000 over the next 4 years. The decision follows disappointment after more than 500,000 applicants signed up for the ongoing recruitment exercise, which only provided for 5,000 slots. However, the minority in Parliament says increasing the numbers alone does not address deeper concerns about the recruitment process. From Accra, Nandiri Tete reports.
The directive was issued after a high-level meeting at the presidency on Monday involving the leadership of the country's security agencies as well as the ministers responsible for interior and defense. According to the Jubilee House, President Mahama was briefed on the progress of the ongoing recruitment exercise before instructing that the overall intake into the various services be expanded over the next 4 years. He also charged the heads of the agencies to ensure that the recruitment process remains transparent and fair. The issue of recruitment into the security services has drawn significant public attention in recent days after Interior Minister Muntaka Mohamed Mubarak disclosed that more than 500,000 people had applied. Following aptitude tests, about 105,000 candidates progressed to the medical screening stage, although only 5,000 recruits were initially expected to be enlisted this year due to economic constraints. But the minority in Parliament argues that simply increasing recruitment recruitment numbers does not address the fundamental concerns surrounding the process. Here is leader of the caucus, Alexander Kwamina Aponyomarking.
The government is not listening at all. And this sweeping statement of, they are increasing it to 10,000 from 5,000 is more or less a solution. It doesn't solve the problem. What becomes of the 90,000 who would have paid 1,600 Ghana cedis and perhaps qualify but will not get opportunity to? And that money is not refundable. Even when you know the system does not have a space, then you deliberately allow people to participate. Are you not scamming them?
The presidency is yet to outline how the expanded recruitment target will be distributed across the various security agencies within the 4-year period. For WADR, Nadidi Tete, Accra.
Crossing over to the Gambia, a proposed policy requiring journalists, broadcasters and some online content creators to obtain official accreditation is drawing criticism across the country. The draft plan, prepared by the Ministry of Information under the National Press Accreditation Policy and Broadcasting and Online Content Regulations 2025, would require media practitioners to register and undergo professional assessment before operating. Critics warn the measure could expand government oversight and undermine press freedom. From Banjul, Sandra Mendy has more.
The Gambian Press Union, GPU, says the proposal not only threatens press freedom but could also undermine the independence of the media. Serif Sedikan is GPU's vice president.
The proposed framework in its current form represents a dangerous regression for not only press freedom but media independence and freedom of expression in the Gambia. We firmly believe the proposed policy, if adopted, it will have a lot of serious consequences for journalist safety and media independence in the country.
Several former GPU leaders have also voiced opposition, signing an open letter to the government. They warn that the proposal could introduce what they describe as permission-based journalism. Demba Ali Jao, a former president of the GPU, is one of the signatories.
It is not the duty of the government, definitely, to be regulating the media or to deciding who is to practice in this country and what type of media house is to be allowed in this country. I think that is definitely not acceptable.
Bakari Mankajang, a podcaster and a content creator, says
the new policy issue is something that the government should really try to invite media personnel from mainstream content creators and other people to sit over the matter and to hold a discussion to see.
Former leaders of the Gambian Press Union say journalism in the Gambia is already regulated through self-regulation by the Media Council of the Gambia. Since the 2017 political transition under President Adama Barrow, the country has seen significant growth in independent media and greater press freedom. For Newslink on East Africa Democracy Radio, I am Sangdana Mendy, reporting from Banjul.
In Burkina Faso, the World Bank has approved $215.9 million in funding to support the transformation of the agricultural sector in the Sahelian country. The financing will support the Agricultural Transformation Support Project aimed at strengthening food security, creating jobs, and promoting private sector investment in agriculture. Details in this report by Sankule Janko.
The initiative seeks to increase farm productivity, modernize the processing infrastructure, and improve farmers' access to markets. During the implementation phase, priority will be given to strengthening the rice and maize value chains, which are key to food security. The project also aims to address the financing challenges to encourage private investment and the adoption of modern agricultural technologies. Special attention will be given to the inclusion of women and young people in agricultural value chains to create jobs and promote rural entrepreneurship. The World Bank resident representative in Burkina Faso, Hamoud Abdel Widud Kamil, says agriculture remains a cornerstone of the country's economy and essential for food security and resilience in rural communities. The project will be implemented in 4 of the country's 17 regions, selected for their strong agricultural potential and opportunities to expand similar existing programs.
Sankule Janko reporting. You are listening to Newslink here on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM and online at wadr.org. Here's a reminder of our top stories. President Tinubu of Nigeria orders deployment of all service chiefs to Borno State after Monday's suicide bombings. Guinea to begin gradual drawdown of troops on border areas following the Mano River Union Tripartite Summit in Conakry. Opposition parliamentary group in Ghana challenges government's plan to recruit 40,000 security personnel over 4 years. Burkina Faso receives a $200 million in funding support to transform the agricultural sector. Ahead in the news, we have the guest interview and sports news. Please stay with us.
Fresh and breaking news all the time. Hear it first as the news breaks, only on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
Many thanks for staying with us. Nigeria is seeking to strengthen trade and investment ties with United Kingdom as government officials and international investors met at a high-level roundtable. The session comes ahead of President Bola Tinubu's state visit to the United Kingdom. The discussions focus on economic reforms, investment opportunities, and improving the business environment in Nigeria. From Abuja, WADR's Ichenisa Setu completes the story.
The meeting, convened by the Commonwealth Enterprise and Investment Council, brought together Nigeria's economic team, UK investors, and business leaders to discuss trade, partnerships, and long-term investments into the Nigerian economy. Speaking at the roundtable, Nigeria's Finance Minister and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, highlighted the government's commitment to macroeconomic reforms.
For countries like Nigeria, given the fundamental and very impactful macroeconomic reforms that are being put in place, we can be at the heart of a shift to domestic production.
Also speaking, the Executive Secretary of the Nigeria Investment Promotion Commission, Aisha Rimi, said Nigeria is positioning itself as a competitive destination for global investment.
We want to showcase what Mr. President has been doing in terms of all the reforms, and that's why we had the Coordinating Minister of the Economy, because with him comes the force of the entire cabinet.
Chairman of the Commonwealth Enterprise and Investment Council, Lord Marland, stressed the need to improve the ease of doing business to attract more foreign investment.
This whole trip is the ease of doing business in Nigeria. It's been a problem for quite a long time. The steps taken by the President and his ministers to really change the landscape for that is very important.
Meanwhile, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is expected to travel to the United Kingdom today, Tuesday, for a state visit hosted by King Charles III and Queen Camilla. His trip aims to strengthen diplomatic and economic ties between the two countries. For WADR, Ichenisa Setu in Abuja.
Politics,
Analysis on major news,
social matters, and all. This is A Guest.
Our guest this evening is Babagana Wakil, a security expert in Maiduguri, the capital of Borno State. Yesterday, Monday, a series of coordinated suicide bombings shook the capital, killing more than 20 people. So far, 108 others, including women and children, have been confirmed injured. The state government and joint security have condemned the attacks, promising that investigations are ongoing while urging the population to remain calm but vigilant. Babagana Wakil brings us to speed about the latest violence and what explains the resurgence of attacks.
It is highly unfortunate that the recent attack is really bad. The first one at Maiduguri busiest Monday market, where hundreds, thousands of people are passing through. And the explosion was actually happened, according to some eyewitness accounts, that it was in a motorcycle. And that of University of Maiduguri, it was a small child. University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital was a small child that was given the explosive device where he came to the gates and the explosion occurred. And another counter attack around the Monday market again, which claims, I think, lives of so many people, because as of now, there is no official statement about how many people were actually killed or injured. But I have seen so many victims were evacuated to the various health facilities within the city, and they are currently receiving treatment. And I have received a report that there were so many dead bodies in some of these health facilities.
Were there immediate reactions from the state government and, of course, the joint security sector?
The state governor issued a statement and he condemned the attacks, and he said this attack is happening just due to the ongoing massive military actions inside the Sambisa forest. And at the same time, police on their side issued a statement. The people should remain indoors, should be vigilant, and the police are working. As I'm talking to you now, a military or police helicopter, I can't confirm, but is moving around on the top of the city from one place to another. And of course, last night, a similar attack had happened at some points outskirts of Maiduguri, where a military repelled the attack. We have had so many explosions and so many dead bodies who are suspected to be the bodies of the attackers, and were seen being circulated on social media. But yet the military hasn't issued any statement regarding that. But I've seen so many security alerts. It was issued by the military that the situation is under control and the clearance operations was ongoing. That was yesterday.
Now, what are people saying in Maiduguri State or perhaps in the northeast, given that there is a wave of rising attacks, particularly during this month of Ramadan, which usually was not the case?
Yes, people's reaction sounds differently. People who are actually not happy and people who are saying sort of things, and also condemning the attackers, also citing that nobody can stop them from going to the Eid prayers. They said Boko Haram members or ISWAP or the attackers might not likely want people to perform their religious rites. That is when you look at it from the religious perspective. And in the strategic perspective, I know military and other security operatives, including the members of civilian joint task force, local hunters, and vigilantes, and of course the member of the public, working together and sharing all the sensitive information to the security operative. That is what they had called for and have been calling for long, cooperating with the security operative. I believe people have been doing it, and there are so many platforms active and operational where information can be easily delivered. And I have spoken with top military officials and said the situation is under control and they are working to make sure that these kind of suspected attack will not happen.
Military formations in Borno State and along the shared border with Niger and Chad around the Lake Chad Basin have come under heavy attacks by insurgents. What explains this resurgence?
Yes, most of the experts and analysts have been saying that as a result of the ongoing operations at different locations, that's what makes the insurgents carrying out a kind of retaliatory attack against the military formation. And this time around, civilians are also not safe.
Baba Gana Wakil, a security consultant in Borno State, Nigeria. In the sporting world, the Tigers honored court delays AFCON case had pathways with Owusu Spain Richeldo's friendlies. Nigeria's women's basketball team, the Tigers, have received houses and national honors from the government in recognition of their international success, with officials praising their impact on the global stage. In Morocco, a court in Rabat has postponed the case involving Senegalese fans accused of unrest during the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations final to March 30 for further hearings. Meanwhile, the Ghanaian side Accra Hearts of Oak have terminated the contract of striker Prince Kwabena Owusu due to ongoing fitness concerns. And international football, the Spain national football team will now face the Egypt national football team in a friendly on March 31 following the cancellation of their planned finalizer clash with Argentina. And with that, we've come to the end of this edition of Newslink here on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. Thank you for listening, and special thanks to Mustafa Sek and Mojo Juf For the technical support, do interact with us via social media platforms X, Instagram, and Facebook at WADR English. We stream live at wadr.org. And you can also download our mobile application today from Google Play Store. That is WADR Live, to listen to us anywhere, anytime. I'm Abdullahi Hassan. Good evening.
And many thanks to you for listening to Newslink via Hot 104.3 FM,
Hilltop Radio 104.7 FM,
and Veritas Radio 102.9 in Banjul, the Gambia. We also appreciate our listeners in Liberia via Alternative Youth Radio 98.9 FM, Lofa County,
Radio Kagama 94.5 FM, Nibe County, DCN Radio 91.3 FM, Riverside County, Radio Gulf FM 91.3 Sierra Leone in Nigeria, and Love 104.5 FM Abuja.
For you listening via Radio Pad 95.1 Damango, Savannah region, and on Royals FM 104.7 Wenchi, Ghana, we say a big thank you. Remember, West Africa Democracy Radio is all about you, your views, and your opinions.